Podcast where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. There are few groups on this planet, sporting groups, more miserable than the Hatelens. These people are insufferable. They complain and complain and complain and complain.
What's good, Baskley fam? The Caitlin Clark haters just experienced their worst nightmare, and the meltdown is absolutely unhinged. AP just dropped their all-time greatest women's college basketball players list, celebrating 50 years of the sport. And guess who made first team? Yeah, Caitlin Clark. And the reaction? Pure chaos. We're talking full-blown panic mode from people who've spent years trying to diminish her legacy. But here's what makes this different from every other controversy. This wasn't voted on by casual fans or social media polls. This was former players and AP writers, people who actually know the game, and they still put her on the first team alongside legends. The haters didn't just lose this battle. They got completely obliterated by the people whose opinions actually matter. And watching them spiral, that's what we're diving into today.
They whine and they whine and they whine and they whine. They cry and cry and cry and cry. And today, they have a new thing to cry about. Caitlin Clark missed nearly 75% of this season. Yet still, they found a way to complain about her at every single turn. And now that we're in the offseason,
listen to that frustration. They complain and complain. But here's the psychological warfare happening underneath all this noise. These haters have invested so much energy into tearing down Caitlin Clark that her success has become personal failure for them. Every achievement she unlocks isn't just a win for her. It's a validation that they were wrong, and people hate being wrong more than they hate anything else. That's why they can't let it go. That's why even when she misses 75% of the season, they're still obsessing over her. She lives rent-free in their minds because admitting she's elite means admitting they wasted years hating on greatness. But wait until you see how they justify their rage this time, because the mental gymnastics are Olympic level.
For many college basketball experts, selecting the greatest players of the women's poll era sounds easy until they try it. Of course, USC, Cheryl Miller, and Diana Taurasi of UConn are relatively easy choices, but narrowing the list from there gets tricky, inevitably leaving out talented players, including those who sharpen their skills during later professional careers. In honor of the 50th anniversary of the women's basketball poll, the Associated Press assembled a list of the greatest players since the first poll in 1976, and in the spirit of the top 25 rankings, the choices are certain to spark a debate and prompt plenty of hand-wringing among those who are in a position.
Rebecca Lobo Maine, a UConn champion, someone who actually played at the highest level, said choosing this list was nearly impossible because there were too many no-brainers and not enough slots. Think about what that reveals. Even legends of the game struggled with this decision because the talent pool is that deep. 13 panelists, former players with championship pedigrees, and AP sports writers who've covered decades of basketball. All had to consider only college careers, not WNBA success, not professional accolades, just what these players accomplished in college. Championships, record-breaking statistics, ability to will teams to victory. Those were the criteria, and you're about to see exactly why the haters can't handle what happened next, because their entire argument just got dismantled by the people who actually understand greatness.
Who aren't on the list. Joining Miller on the front court on the first team are Breanna Stewart and Candace Parker, and Caitlin Clark joins Taurasi as the guards. So you have Breanna Stewart, Candace Parker, Cheryl Miller in the front court, Diana Taurasi, and Caitlin Clark. You're all women's college basketball AP first team players.
There it is. First team. Cheryl Miller, Breanna Stewart, Candace Parker in the front court, Diana Taurasi, and Caitlin Clark as the guards. That's the all-time starting five for women's college basketball, according to people who actually know what they're watching. And notice who's on second team. Nasu Bird, Dawn Staley, Chamique Holdsclaw, Maya Moore, Lucia Harris. Absolute legends. Hall of Fame caliber players. Now here's where the haters reveal their entire strategy falls apart. They're not mad that Caitlin made the list. They're furious. She made first team over Maya Moore. That's their argument. Not that she doesn't belong in the conversation at all, but that she should have been second team. You see what just happened? They accidentally admitted she's one of the 10 greatest college players ever. They moved the goalposts so many times they forgot where they started. But their meltdown is just getting started, and the contradictions in their arguments are about to expose something way deeper than basketball opinions.
Career scoring record for any D1 women's or men's basketball players. Quote, being named an AP All-American is one of the most storied honors in college sports, Clark said. It means a lot to be named on this list alongside players I looked up to. It's so fun to think about what it would have been like if we all played together.
Caitlin led Iowa to back-to-back national championship appearances while becoming the all-time leading scorer in Division I basketball history, men's or women's. Let that sink in for a second. The criteria included championship pedigree OR record-breaking statistics, not championship pedigree and record-breaking statistics. Or, she doesn't need both to qualify Miss. She just needs one, and she shattered the most significant individual record in the sport's history. But the haters are about to argue that championships are the only thing that matters, which is fascinating because that same logic would eliminate dozens of players they consider untouchable. Watch how quickly they abandon consistency when it doesn't serve their narrative. The tweets we're about to break down reveal something way more toxic than sports debate. This is about people who need her to fail so badly they'll contradict themselves in the same sentence.
This, as they said in White Chicks, they're throwing BFs. If you know, you know. Let's take a look at some of the reactions, shall we? Am I wrong for looking for Sue Bird? Second team. Caitlin Clark was cold in college, but ain't no way in hell she's better than Maya Moore. Missing someone. I was going to agree, but I didn't know Moore won 2 Players of the Years and not one. She should be first team. She has no type of championship on either level, no MVP, no defensive MVP, just a Rookie of the Year. How does that make her one of the greats? Because she shoots from the logo? I'm so confused. There we go.
The reaction started flooding in immediately. Am I wrong for looking for Sue Bird's second team? Caitlin Clark was cold in college, but ain't no way in hell she's better than Maya Moore. Then someone responds, I was going to agree, but I didn't know Moore won 2 Players of the Year and not one. Notice the pattern here. These people are arguing with passion about players whose resumes they don't even know. They're so invested in their hatred, they're making definitive statements about rankings without basic facts. Then it escalates. She has no type of championship on either level, no MVP, no defensive MVP, just a Rookie of the Year. How does that make her one of the greats because she shoots from the logo? I'm so confused. This person is genuinely confused because they're analyzing this with their feelings instead of the actual criteria. They're so blinded by their bias, they can't comprehend that record-breaking scoring might qualify someone for an all-time list. But the really wild part, they're about to make an argument that accidentally destroys their entire position and they don't even realize it.
Caitlin's out in full effect. Wow, Maya Moore should definitely be on this list. Null and void. All these players won national championships except one. So why is she listed? Wow. Everyone but Caitlin Clark won an NCAA women's championship. And how is Maya Moore not first team? Did they check her resume? AP fumbled this one for sure. These people are miserable. That's the only way to put it. These people are miserable. They just want to complain. They just want something to complain about.
All these players won national championships except one. So why is she listed? There it is. The championship argument. The most predictable take in sports debate. Here's why this logic implodes on itself. If championships are the only criteria that matters, then every player on a championship team is automatically better than every player who didn't win one. That would mean role players on championship teams are better than generational talents who carried weaker programs. It would mean context doesn't exist. Team success doesn't equal individual greatness. That's why the criteria specifically included multiple factors. But these haters need championships to be the only thing that counts because it's the one box Caitlin didn't check. They're reverse engineering their argument from their conclusion. They decided she doesn't belong, then worked backwards to find justification. And when you do that, you expose your bias in real time. But one person is about to say something so contradictory it breaks the entire conversation.
Remember the criteria: championship pedigree or record-setting, record-breaking. Caitlin Clark clearly should be first team on this. It gets worse, folks. It gets worse. Can y'all let her get there? That's y'all fandom's problem. Putting her in stuff she ain't backed up yet. Attention, dumbass. This is college. She's cashed all the checks. She's cashed all the receipts. She's backed it up in college. This is college. People choose not to comprehend. It's okay.
Can y'all let her get there? That's y'all fandom's problem. Putting her in stuff she ain't backed up yet. Then someone responds with 2 words that shatter the entire argument. This is college. And they follow up. She's cashed all the checks. She's backed it up in college. This is college. This is the breaking point where the haters reveal they're not even arguing about the actual topic anymore. The list is specifically about college careers, not professional potential, not future accomplishments. What they did in college. And in college, Caitlin Clark became the all-time leading scorer in Division I history, led her team to 2 championship games, won multiple Player of the Year awards, and changed the entire visibility of women's basketball. She backed up everything, but the haters are so deep in their narrative, they're literally arguing against a list based on criteria they're ignoring. This isn't sports debate anymore. This is psychological warfare. They're losing, and it gets even more desperate.
It's a pandemic across America. They just making up shit for CC to be a part of. She was in no way better than Maya Moore in college. LOL. Where is the chips? Where are the chips? It is what it is. If CC didn't become famous in that last 1.5 seasons, she would not be on the list. She had been doing what she was doing for 2 whole years before everybody got hip. I'm not buying this. Sorry. Especially when half of media and analysts were/are not watching women's basketball consistently. I guarantee you, Rebecca Lobo was watching consistently. First team, all greatest. Indeed, Priceless. You let them know. You let them know.
If CC didn't become famous in that last 1.5 seasons, she would not be on this list. She had been doing what she was doing for 2 whole years before everybody got hip. I'm not buying this. Sorry. Especially when half these analysts were/are not watching women's basketball consistently. This is where the desperation reaches its peak. They're now arguing that her accomplishments don't count because people paid attention to them. Think about that logic. She broke the all-time scoring record, but because it happened when people were watching, it's somehow less valid. The mental gymnastics required to maintain this position are exhausting. And then they attack the voters. Half these analysts weren't watching women's basketball consistently. Except Rebecca Lobo literally played women's basketball at the highest level and won a championship. She watched consistently. She voted, but facts don't matter when you're this committed to being wrong. And the final tweet is about to reveal just how far gone these people really are.
They may have gotten this right. Wow. Whoa. Maya Moore was a better college player than Caitlin Clark. Maya Moore was good. This do not match. 11 national titles combined, and Caitlin Clark contributed none to that total. I would have put Sue Bird, Cheryl Swoops, Ann Meyer, and definitely Maya Moore above Clark. In my opinion, to be a GOAT player, you got to put a title or 2 behind it, or you're at best an all-time great.
1 national, 11 national titles combined, and Caitlin Clark contributed none to that total. I would have put Sue Bird, Cheryl Swoops, and definitely Maya Moore above Clark. In my opinion, to be a GOAT player, you gotta put a title or 2 behind it, or you're at best an all-time great. Read that last sentence again. To be a GOAT player, you need championships, or you're at best an all-time great. This person just said that without championships, you're only an all-time great. Do they realize they just admitted Caitlin Clark is an all-time great? Do they understand the list they're mad about is literally called all-time greatest players? They're so twisted up in their hatred, they're making the case for her inclusion, while thinking they're arguing against it. This is what happens when your position is built on emotion instead of logic. You end up defeating your own argument, and you're too deep in your feelings to even notice.
Is this person a dumbass? This is literally a list of the all-time greats. Are you okay? Somebody see if that person needs medical attention. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Of course she's going to be on this list. First team, of course. Shoot. We're only having this conversation because of her as it is. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. That'd mean a lot to me. See you next time, and as always.
Alright, Baskley fam, that was an absolute masterclass in how bias destroys logical thinking. The haters moved goalposts, contradicted themselves, argued against criteria they made up, and accidentally admitted she's an all-time great while trying to tear her down. The AP got this right. Former players and expert writers evaluated college careers using specific criteria, and Caitlin Clark earned her spot on that first team. The meltdown isn't about basketball anymore, it's about people who can't handle being wrong. So what happens when she keeps achieving? Do they ever admit they missed greatness happening in real time? Drop your thoughts below.